Good morning. It's Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and we are talking today about growing your influence. Do you have a tiny email list? Do you have just a little following on your social media pages? Well, don't despair. I've been there because you don't get to 30,000 until you have the first one, right? So let's talk about growing influence today, okay? So I'm Trudy Beerman, and I am a doctoral student at Liberty University. I'm the host of PSI TV. People come as guests on PSI TV. We make them the star and we distribute their content to a wide audience. We realize very quickly that yeah, there's a little buzz to saying they're on TV, but really our guests come to us because they were looking for a wider reach. So we realized very quickly we're not just in the TV business, we're really in the influential reach business. So with that shift in our mindset and paradigm, we realize how can we really serve at the highest level? And the same journey that I was on for my own message, I just feel like a step or two ahead of some of you. And if I can assist, then fantastic. So TV is our primary platform. It's not our only platform. It is our primary platform, though. This is PSI TV. And our guests are looking for ways to reach a new and expanded audience. So that had us really thinking. So as my doctoral research is now in process, I realize that my interest really is in the influential reach space. So I'm walking through this journey here and you're watching me do it. And I'm not the expert yet, but I intend to be. And I won't say I'm any big influencer, but I'm probably a step or two ahead of some of you. So let's do this, okay? Let's talk about growing influence. So the topic is growing influence, how small influence can become big influence. Can be done, guys. So if you have a tiny email list, you feel like you only have a few friends, it is possible to go from a small influence to a bigger level of influence. We're going to look at a couple things today and, the appearing everywhere. I have a story I want to tell you about David and 400 losers for the win. Look at some peer-reviewed findings and talk about the media challenge a little bit more. All right, so when guests apply to come on PSI TV, this is the form that they encounter. It's only a portion of the form. The reason why I wanted to show it to you is that they're telling me their influence. Okay, so in this particular case, this gentleman did have a sizable email list. I'm assuming that they are being honest with me. I have found one or two are not quite honest, but let's assume they are. So this gentleman has a sizable email list, but not too much on social media. So this is Twitter, and the other one is Instagram, nothing on Facebook. This other person had a tiny email list, nothing on Facebook, a small Twitter following, and an introductory Instagram following. So another thing I want to say, guys, is that we cannot, it would be great if we could dominate on every single platform that's out there. That's really not realistic. So one of the things that I'm going to suggest as a strategy for you, if you're not already doing this, is pick one, and then set a goal. So once I passed 20,000 on Facebook, I started to shift my attention to other places. So I now have a little bit of a presence on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on YouTube. And I recently, as I shared in a show before, I recently got YouTube monetized. So what does that mean? I finally hit the 1,000+ subscribers and the 4,000+ watch hours. So that, again, you don't hit the 1,000+ subscribers till you get the first one. So guys, this is just social proof that you can go from a small following to a larger following. Now, my PSI TV YouTube page, I really started working on it about a year ago. Now, if you look at the page information, it's going to say it's an older page, but I'll just tell you, YouTube only allows two YouTube pages for verification. and I had exceeded the 2, so I couldn't start a new channel page. So I repurposed one of my channels that was already verified with my phone number and made it into the PSI TV channel, deleted everything that was there before, started over with PSI TV. It's only been a year, and that page had no following at the time. So in about a little over a year, I did hit the YouTube mark. The point is, I went from no subscribers to being YouTube monetized. You can do this, guys. I'm not going to say you can do it overnight, but it can be done. But it will not be done if you just wish it. You have to actually take some steps. So these people came to me and they're looking for being on TV, yes, but really what they want is they have a message that they want to expose to a wider audience. So these two people, I'm going to show you on the next page. When they came, let's move this. So one of them ended up with 3,000 plus views on YouTube and 2,000 plus views on YouTube, having been on my show. Because remember, I said PS TV is my primary platform. It's not the only platform, because when I interview my guests and I put them on the PSI TV channel, which has the Netflix-like channel presence on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Vita TV, the content is stripped out and pushed to other platforms, guys. I syndicate my guests out to different platforms because I understand that they may be coming to me to be on TV, but I'm stacking the value of working with me, choosing to work with me. I'm not the only TV opportunity out there. I'm aware, I'm not the only one, but I probably am the only one that cares the way I do. At least I'd like to think so. I definitely want to stack the value. A lot of my competitors, you can't even get the owner or the host on the phone. It's next to impossible. But you get to talk to me, and when you choose to work with PSI TV, we stack the value because we understand you may be coming to us for TV, but you really want that reach. So we syndicate that same content out to YouTube, to six podcast platforms, to our mobile app, to our social media pages. And my Facebook page, I showed a clip in a previous thing. At the time, I had a reach of 82,000, if you came on my page. So little following can grow, because having appeared on PSI TV, these people had a brand new exposure, and I don't know what the score is. Well, I think I grabbed these last night. So this is their current exposure to a brand new audience they never had before, and in some cases exceeds their current social media influence. Okay, so I want to tell you a story about David and the 4,000 losers for the win. Some of you may be familiar with the Bible story about King David. Now, while King David was working with when he was just David, first he was a shepherd, and because he played the harp, he was made to work with King Saul. And then once he was working with Saul, he became a military leader, and then he was in charge of Saul's army. So he was now in charge of Saul's army. And he had such an amazing win as the head of Saul's army that when they were coming back from war, from striking down the Philistines, the women came out of all the cities. How many women would that be, guys? Israel was a large place. There were 12 tribes. At this point, all the tribes were still together. This wasn't a split of Judah and Israel, okay? This was the complete children of Israel. And the women out of all the cities came to celebrate David. So that means at this point, he had a large following, going from a shepherd where he's hidden. Not even his brothers were seeing him. Because remember, if you know the story, Samuel came to anoint one of Jesse's sons, and David was alone out in the field with the sheep. Nobody knew David. He was just a shepherd boy, discounted by his family even as being even worthy of coming to the dinner to appoint him as king. Okay, Samuel had to say, do you have any more sons? So this is a person who went from nobody knowing him to now being in charge of Saul's army and making such an impact that the women came out of all the cities. How many? All the cities. So at this point, David has a large following. And Saul was angry because they're, oh, David, I only get thousands, but they're saying David has his 10,000. So he's now gone from being unknown to having a large group of people who are celebrating and following him. Saul got so jealous that he went after David. David ran away from Saul and hid. It says David left Gath and escaped to the cave of Adullam. So David ran away from King Saul. When his brothers and his father's household heard about it, they went down to him there. All those who were in distress or in debt or discounted gathered around him, and he became their commander. About 400 men were with him. So David went from being a shepherd, nobody knowing him, to being in the head of the military, to having such impact on the war statistics that all the women from all the city came out to see him, creating such a jealousy that Saul was going after his life. He runs away by himself. He ran away by himself. David left Gath, not David and a crowd. David left Gath and escaped to save his own life. But when his father's household heard about it, this is a conversation I want to have for another day, because his father's household heard about it. They went down to him there. Guys, one of the starting points for building your support and your subscriber base and your follower base starts with the core of people around you. Your father's household, your family, your friends, your core. It does start there. So David runs away by himself, escapes to a cave. His core of diehard people who love him hear about it, and they go to find him. And guess who else goes to find him? Other people who are kicked out from their social network, people who are in distress, people who are in debt, the ones who were discounted. These are the rejects from their own society, and they gathered around him. Sometimes the group that will get you going are the people who are just like you or just where you were. Because remember now, David runs away in distress. He is stressed out. He's trying to save his own life. He is discontent with his situation. His very life is in debt. Okay, so he is gathering around him other rejects from society. And sometimes that's where we start. A lot of times when you're talking about your target audience, a lot of us are wishing for the ideal. We want the people who have money and live in the top zip codes, but that's not where you are. You're not going to be able to attract the people who are ahead of you unless you've achieved mastery in something that they want. Now that's down the line. If you are a master craftsman, let's say you're a master carpenter, even though you may be poor, if you're the master carpenter, then when the very, very rich man wants something done in the realm of carpentry, he will seek out the best. And that's when you can do that. But in the meantime, the target audience that you should be going for, and that's really a conversation I'll dive deeper into another day. The people who are going to follow you guys are the people who are 2 or 3 steps behind you, people who are where you were. And because of where you were and you're come out of it, they're going to resonate with you. Even if they don't know your backstory, something about the energy that you give off, your vibration, your frequencies, your aura, your whatever, there's that animal instinct that we pick up on each other. Okay, they're going to figure out that there's some reason why they resonate with you. And so this is why I'm telling you, I'm only a few steps away of some of you. Some of you looking at it, you're like, you're going to discount me because you're way ahead of me and I can't teach you anything. And that's perfectly fine. Maybe this is not for you. But for those of you who are like me, where I started, nobody knew me. And some of you may have watched one of my shows before. I talked about, I grew up in Jamaica, and my father was somewhat of a celebrity in that country, and I was known as Jerry Gallimore's daughter. Nobody knew me. They never even remembered my name. I was always Jerry Gallimore's daughter. And when I came out as an adult, I thought the world would embrace me. I was still Jerry Gallimore's daughter. So that was a story for another day too. But the point is, nobody knew me, and I have built a small following at this point, and it will be ever increasing. And I'm deliberately building my following because I want to stack the value for the people who come to PSI TV. And when they come to the services of PSI TV, yes, TV is our primary platform and they will get TV, but we are stacking that value and distributing their content to a wider audience base over multiple platforms. And the more of an audience that I build is the more of an audience that they get introduced to. So the target audience, the people came around David, 400 men followed him, okay, 400. So research says, so as I mentioned, I'm a doctoral candidate. I'm in the research phase of my program, and I'm at Liberty University looking at studying strategic leadership. My interest is in influential reach. So this is a peer-reviewed document that I'm sharing with you. Okay, understanding brand page followers and brand page followers, BFP. Okay, brand page followers. So I wanted to show you some highlights. I can't go through the whole thing. Almost 70% of Twitter users report that they purchased the products marketed on brand fan pages that they follow. It goes on to talk about other brand fan pages, so Facebook users and so forth. So when you have a social media page, so with Facebook in particular, you can have a personal page and a brand page. Twitter, my personal page is also a brand page. I don't have two pages on Twitter. I don't even know if I can. Twitter, I have a presence there. I'm not actively trying to build the followership on Twitter yet, because as I shared earlier, as a strategy, pick one. So I was focused on Facebook for a while. And then once I hit that 25,000 follower mark, then I started to shift my attention over to YouTube. And that's when I was able to capture the monetization strategies, because you have to hit certain milestones, right? So the brand, so 70% of users, of Twitter users, report that they purchased the products marketed on the brand fan pages they follow. This is important. You should be building your following on these pages. It's going to start with the first one. It's going to start with the first one. You cannot hit 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 until you have the first one. And like David, the moment his father's household heard about it, they went down to him there. You're going to start with your core group. You're going to reach out to your core group of followers and have them kick off the following. There's something strange. Oh, let me go to this next one. I'll come back to this page in a minute. So of course, just to remind you, this is a brand, my professional, my Facebook page, and that my picture has changed since then. I was enjoying my younger picture here, but my brand page on Facebook at the time, these are my followers. Okay, so on YouTube, this was a screenshot on June 7, 71 new subscribers, 11,000 total views. That was the last 28 days or something like that. So here we go again. Now in the last 28 days again, I'm up 115 subscribers and 12,000 plus views. Okay, so you don't get the first one until you don't get the 30,000 till you get the first one. And here's what research says: a sound follower base is a prerequisite for the survival of a brand fan page, but it's also a prerequisite for the survival of your business, for the survival of getting your message out there. You have to be actively working to bring in new followers, new people who are willing to listen to you. And there are strategies that are specific to doing that, but you have to have the plan to do that in the first place. You can't wish it and think it's going to magically happen, guys. You have to be strategic and intentional about doing this. And when you understand that when you have these followers, that they are making purchases on your page, this becomes even more important, because this is the point of which these 70% of these Twitter users have gotten a chance to know, like, and trust the person whose brand they're following. And that is when people take their wallets out. So it's so important that you're intentional about doing this. Don't just, oh, I wish I had. No, it's not a wish business. It's strategic. And a lot of times things are going to fail. It's going to fail You learn from the mistake, you move on, you tweak, you try again, you test, whatever, okay? So again, people come to PSI TV. People come to PSI TV. Oh dear. People come to PSI TV to be on TV, yes. But what they're really looking for is a brand new exposure for their message. And one of the things that I like to say about TV is a trust transfer, because my audience knows me. Now, every week I bring on, every time I have a show, it's a different guest, because on PSI TV, I'm not the expert. I'm just a knowledge broker. I'm not the expert on that channel. I do have a channel that is unique to just my content, but PSI TV is not it. On PSI TV, that is where I'm the knowledge broker. Okay, this is a show that's going to be on PSI TV, but for the most part, PSI TV, I'm the knowledge broker. I'm not the expert. So when I bring guests on, when my audience who has downloaded my channel or looked to see what other channel they could download on TV or on my podcast or whatever, and they know me and they're like, look, what's Trudy up to today? There is something called trust transfer. So here is a verse in the Bible, John 1 from 35 to 36. The next day again, John was standing with two of his disciples. This is John the Baptist. John the Baptist had disciples of his own. So in those days, they wouldn't have said followers. Today, in our language, in our vernacular, we might say followers. But a disciple is a little bit more than just somebody who's just, hey, they're avidly studying that person. So John the Baptist had disciples of his own. And he, John the Baptist, looked at Jesus as he walked by and said, behold the Lamb of God. The two disciples heard him say this and they followed Jesus. This was massive trust transfer. They knew, loved, and trusted John the Baptist. And if John the Baptist pointed to this guy and says, he is the Lamb of God, that's all these guys needed to up and leave John and follow Jesus. And that's what happens. I have tons and tons of research, peer-reviewed research that shows things about followers. Like if you use a social media influencer and as your brand advocate, that has been very strategic for allowing for trust transfer, because people who follow that influencer, if they say go buy this or I love this, their belief in that product will allow for trust transfer for their audience, their followers, to go and follow that brand. So once again, guys, I'm going to wrap up because we're at the top of the hour, almost at the top of the hour. Top messages. Okay, so if you're watching this later, two things I'm going to ask of you. Now, depending on where you're watching this, because this content is going to be repurposed on PSI TV, the actual Roku channel, Amazon Fire channel, Vita TV. So you may not be able to communicate directly there, but you can visit those pages and connect with me on my social media. But if you are watching me on a spot that you can comment, please do, and let me know where in the world you're hearing this, because I do like to, part of my research is seeing the reach. How far is this message going? Where in the world is this going? But also, if you are someone who has a small following and you're looking to grow your following, one of the most strategic things you can do is borrow the audiences of other people. That is one of the reasons why people want to come on PSI TV. But one of the things that I realized is that when they apply, the applications are not that exciting, and the information that they're giving is just too much research. You need to literally make it easy. You want to borrow other people's audiences, appear on other people's platforms, their podcasts, their summits, their webinars, their stages, their television shows, their meetings or staff meetings. You want to get in front of other people's audiences. And one of the ways to do that, guys, is to grease the way. You need to have that tool. So if you come to the media challenge, we have been having them monthly. Okay, so if you sign up the date, you may have just missed one, but we will be having another one. So go ahead and sign up because you'll be notified. And when you come to the media challenge in 3 short days, you will leave with a tool that gets you access to platforms with larger audiences or even different audiences if you already have a large audience of your own. You want to become the most obvious, the most visible, the preferred choice among your competitors. Your competitors aren't doing this. So you want to join the media challenge, and it's designed to get you HIRED, hired. You want to get selected. Now, HIRED is our unique mechanism. It's our system, which if you join the challenge, you'll learn about, but you want to get hired. You want to get selected for the stage, selected by your prospect. You want to get selected. And one of the ways is, remember what that research showed, Twitter people, 70%, that's a very high score, guys. And even 60% of Facebook users would recommend the brand they follow to friends. You do want to build your following on various pages. And it starts with when you appear on other people's platform, you get that trust transfer. Those people who never heard of you before learn of you and automatically transfer the trust from the person they know, like, and trust to you, start following you, and then you'll build your following. And then guess what? They'll make purchases. They'll show up at your events. They will buy your books and that kind of a thing. All right. So Trudy Beerman here. Thank you so much for being with me today. Now, if you're watching on Roku TV, please rate this channel. Just go to your Roku remote. There's an asterisk button on there. Click the asterisk button and it will bring up the menu that allows you to rate the TV channel. Please give us some. All right. Rating. All right. Also, if you're on any of the other pages, like, comment, share if you have found this of value. Don't just because I asked you, only if you found it to be of value. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's grow our following. Trust me, if you have a small following, you can build a bigger following. All right. Thank you so much for being with me today as we grow our following. Join me next Tuesday, 10:30 Eastern, live on YouTube for some other topic that I'll be talking about around the space of media, influence, and reach. Thank you.